I thought the hardest part of this journey would be leaving, but it wasn't. It was coming back. I actually returned at the end of November. I got back right at the start of December, and I just wasn't prepared to come back to winter in New York. In fact, that winter of 2025 was one of the harshest that New York or the Northeast had in a very long time. It was the type of thigh-high snow that I remember from being a kid growing up in New York in the 80s. And I found myself feeling pulled between appreciating the beauty of the quiet that the snow-covered landscape created and just feeling overwhelmed by just feeling trapped in frozen wonderland. Hi, I'm Kalima Fergus Ayele. I'm an international school leader, CEO and founder of Round Trip Ticket Home. Here at Round Trip Ticket Home, we support schools and school leadership teams in using design thinking tools to foster cultures of connection and belonging. Why design thinking tools? Well, because design thinking tools is a human-centered approach to problem solving, which allows us to use our empathy to really understand and define the challenges that we're facing, and then use our imagination to come up with a vision while we then hold that vision and prototype and test our ways towards a solution. When I think of Round Trip Ticket Home, I think of the hero's journey, such as the one that we see in The Wizard of Oz, where a young heroine, Dorothy, finds herself lost and alone in a strange new land. And along the way, she meets some companions, a scarecrow who is looking for intelligence, a tin man who's looking for heart, and a lion who's looking for courage. And together they journey to the powerful Wizard of Oz, who they believe will be able to provide them with what they seek. However, they're surprised to find when they finally arrive that he has no real power at all. And in that way, we are each charged with figuring out how to access the gifts and the talents that we have within ourselves. In this journey that I'm on, I have purchased a round the world ticket through One World with American Airlines. I had an opportunity to visit Spain, India, Vietnam, Singapore, and Japan before returning home to New York. And returning to New York in what turned out to be one of the most harsh winters in a number of years was quite a shock to the system. I remember thinking to myself, why am I here? And I had so many questions about why I even chose to return to New York. I thought about taking an opportunity to spend some time in the Caribbean. I have some experience of living in the Caribbean as a child, and that's one of the places where I mostly feel rejuvenated and revived. It's one of the places that fuel me, and returning to New York, not getting enough sunlight, having low vitamin D levels, I was really struggling. A lot of that was also because outside of my plan to travel, I really didn't know what else I wanted to do with my sabbatical. I had recently left a job quite unexpectedly, and at the time I didn't have employment. I had packed up my things and moved out of my apartment. And so what it meant was that I was walking into or coming back to a situation that felt very uncertain. And in so many ways, being uncertain and insecure about the future at home was so much harder than the uncertainty and the insecurity that I experienced as a traveler. At least traveling, I knew that uncertainty was because I was in an unfamiliar place. I didn't know the language. I couldn't communicate with everyone that I came across. But feeling uncertain and insecure at home is very challenging. And when I think about what that looks like in terms of leadership, I think about what it means to lead at this current moment where everyone is experiencing this sense of insecurity and uncertainty. And what does it look like to want to provide some sense of stability for a community when really there is none? And we're leading through this moment. I think everyone's calling it a VUCA, right? There's so many crises happening simultaneously that it's overwhelming to our nervous systems. I mean, as humans, we are designed to survive based on patterns and predictability. And when that doesn't exist, it can be quite overwhelming. And so one of the things that I've held on to was it's my responsibility as a leader to increase my capacity for dealing with and navigating discomfort. And the same way that I was able to do that when traveling to different countries, I had to figure out how I would do that at home as well. For me personally, one of the things that I resort to is by creating some routines. What routines can I create to take care of myself? How do I look inward to say, okay, what do I need physically? How can I take care of my body? How can I take care of my mind? How can I take care of my spirit? And so one of the things that I appreciate about being back at home is reconnecting with a church community. I attend a church in Harlem, New York. I also have a practice of listening to a guided meditation in the mornings, which is about 10 to 12 minutes. It doesn't take much time. I also have some books that I like to read, so maybe I'll read a chapter or two of a book. And then I got back into movement. So what does a 20 to 30 minute workout look like for me? And so for me, just carving out somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour in the mornings to just take care of my physical and mental health was very important. And I got back into the habit of using a happy light. It's a lighting system that is designed to mimic the light that you get from the sun. Particularly for me during the winter, it's a way of combating seasonal affective disorder. And so going back to that habit of exercising, eating healthy, trying this idea of 7 colors, trying to get as many colors on my plate as possible for one meal a day. It's a habit I got from South African culture. And for me, that looked like eating a breakfast where there was boiled eggs, chicken sausage, some purple potatoes or sweet potatoes, some kimchi, and some other vegetables, just to make myself eating healthy and staying hydrated. And that made me feel a lot better. I don't know if I would have gotten through this long winter without some of those structured habits. And I'm so grateful that I did that. I'd love to know, what are the things that make you find a place of safety and security in your own home life? Please leave comments below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.